Family is the most important thing we have.
It's about time we stand up for the kids.
Tiff and the Punisher rising to the call, fighting for the children, standing tall. Constitution in hand and we're ready to brawl. Rights worth protecting for one and all. From the podcast ways to every home, teaching us the power to stand alone. Legal knowledge keeps us in the zone. Fight against CPS so fiercely shown. Stand up USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. In every town across this great land, voices united, ready to withstand. From city streets to the desert sand, together we'll take a bold stand. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall.
CPS took my neighbor's kids last week. Here's what I wish she knew beforehand. She had no clue what her rights were and completely panicked. That's exactly what you can't do. The difference between keeping your kids and losing them comes down to being prepared. There's this book, Stay Calm, CPS is Coming, that breaks down everything you need to know. Education isn't just power, it's protection. Grab it on Amazon or check cpsbreakingnews.com. Don't wait until it's your door they're knocking on.
Freedom's light will shine. They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeve. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids, pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stopping.
What's up, Tiff?
You cracked me up. Oh, God.
Yeah, at least I make somebody laugh. You know what? If you can't laugh in life, then what the hell are you doing here? You know?
Right.
I mean, like, things aren't shitty enough, and if you can't just laugh for a minute about it, you know, like I want to be on, like, thank you for joining Tiff and the Punisher for tonight's episode of Tiff and the Punisher Show. Thank you for joining us. You know, like, no, come on. People get on here, they're like, you know what? I'm going to laugh. It's too bad that more people don't know that we are, that we're like this, you know? Like, I bet a lot more people would come after us.
Yeah.
Not like come after us, like attack us, but
No.
how do I sound in the microphone? Do I sound good in the microphone?
Absolutely. You better not lose that damn cord again.
I know. It took me a month and 3 studio rehabs to find this thing. Do I sound better on the microphone? Do you guys even notice out there? Does it sound better to you guys? This microphone?
Yes.
I'm afraid it's gonna fall because I still got to find the little pieces for it. But you know, yeah, no, it's good. Hey, you know, well, once they tell me that I sound good, then we'll move on. I just want someone to say that I sound good.
Well, part of the reason we're doing the show together, you said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to educate people, but I want to have fun doing it. That's
right. We are, and we do that. And we got people with us. Brooke's in the house tonight. I'm excited. Brooke's here. Alicia's here. Brittany's here. And Brooke's here, and Alicia's here. Oh, thank you, Alicia. Appreciate it. Alicia, did you get our emails today? Did you get my email, especially because I responded? I don't know about Tiff, but I did. I responded to you.
I talked to her on Messenger.
Oh, okay. Let's be the one-upper. Hey, I'm on Messenger.
She messaged me yesterday.
From this point in the morning, and as soon as she calls me at between 6 and 8 o'clock, I get bossed around. I get one up. I mean, it's, you know what? This is why I decided to call Henry. I wanted him to get it because I need my ass in ADA because I am constantly attacked by Tiffany, and I don't feel like I'm on an even playing field. That's what I'm thinking here. So that's where I'm at with this whole thing. Oh, good. Yeah, no, I saw that. But Tiffany said she messaged you, so I guess that, you know, thanks for noticing. I just wanted to make sure that I'm on top of things. I'm turning over a new leaf, and I'm trying to be more on top of my things than I normally am. Speaking of that, holy shit, we have a guest, and he's been backstage here. And I don't know how to say his last name, so we're just going to call him Henry. And Henry is now going to start a new show. Henry M. Henry's going to start a new show for us on Saturday nights. What was it called, Tiff? Do you remember what I told you?
No.
Oh, Tiff. All right, Henry, tell her what it's called.
I was giving
Yep, there it is.
Wait,
Tiff.
wait! You caught me off guard. Let me put on my glasses from
we wore our sunglasses that night. Yeah,
my problem is they're all scratched up, and they were all my junk glasses I remember from when I was cool and young.
Yeah, when I don't remember the young part either.
Yeah, right.
You know that I'm older. I'm the old. Am I older than you? We figured that out today, I think, didn't we? Was that someone else I spoke to?
No, we didn't cover that one. But
all right. Yeah, I mean it's easy to win.
60's coming up on me real quick.
Ooh, Lord!
So you're the baby.
So the back nine really sneaks up to you. You guys could have won.
It was all done after we were 35. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. I graduated. You know, I was out of high school at 35. I was good.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God! Say the name of the show again because we didn't hear you.
I'm actually stealing in the name from my mentor. It's called Equal and the Same. It's about the ADA rights of Title II and Title III on how 1990 Congress mandated the leveling of disability rights to ensure that people with physical, intellectual, or perceived disabilities, because this is what everyone's forgetting in life. When somebody perceives you as being disabled, you're entitled to certain protections. And again, you're not going to find that on the street, but you should find it in any government programs, services, and activities or their subcontractors of. You should find it effectively in your medical care. You should find it in your education. You should find it, in the courthouses, in CPS or DCF in my state. Department of Developmental Services. How about that one? So
non-compliant. The ADA should be everywhere in your life, right? Like everywhere.
It should be everywhere because it levels the playing field for people with a disability. Meaning, somebody can't go around saying, "Well, you're not worthy of this because you got XYZ disability." Well, how am I not going to be a good dad? Tell me how I'm not going to be a good dad or a good parent or a good citizen, or how I don't contribute to the society like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys got to realize a case called Olmstead in 1999, pre-1999, and even now to this day, I'm telling you, they just cleaned it up a little bit, but people with disabilities are still being institutionalized left and right, unnecessarily, for profit. And again, every time we look at a case or hear a story, I don't care what it is. I've heard it from so many people that I think they're all equal and the same. And basically comes around to that. Somebody perceived you as disability or had a disability, and they decided to discriminate against you. And the state must have a designated responsible employee, 28 CFR 35.107, at the point of entrance of 15 or more employees. I believe the law has changed now, whether or not you take federal dollars or not, and you serve the public. How about that one for a thing? So again, it's really going to open up the door, and with so many people not knowing their affirmative prophylactic protections that must be in place, which those are big words, but again, it's affirmative. There is no doubt. You take $1 of federal dollars. I don't care if it's for education, highways. They say you have the obligation to care for the most vulnerable of society. So once somebody tells you you're no good for XYZ reason, we're taking you away from your child, or going to put conditions on your requirements of your child. Like you can only see them every Wednesday or every other weekend, like in most divorce courts. I think it's wrong.
Let's hold on. I want to play this. Let's do this. Let's for everybody that might have gone over your head maybe a little bit what Henry just said. Well, Tiff, say what you wanted to say, but I got a video I want to play just so everybody understands what the ADA is. And this is a good explanation. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well,
Tiff?
he can explain after the video. I just want to know. We have a lot of people. Well, I do, telling me that they've been denied ADA. How do we go about getting them ADA when they're telling the courts are saying no?
That's the beautiful part. If you read Tennessee Lane, you'll find out that it's an administrative duty. So basically, the second somebody knocks on your door, they better have a procedural safeguard for you, because that's equal and the same to like an educational procedural safeguard. I'm telling you your due process rights, who to call if you need an accommodation. The words are technically a modification that leads to an accommodation, but this is what the courts and entities want to do, is say, okay, what's your disability? What do you want us to change for you? Oh no, we can't do that. That's out of the question. Wrong. The ADA says after 35 years of funding, it's an undue burden. How can it be if you do nothing for 35 years? That anything I suggest? But there is things that is recognized today, like real time, CART. These are all transcript things where, again, it gives you the possibility to recall conversations and go over everything. Yes, you might need a doctor to sign off on a note, but that's not a problem. If you truly got a disability, I would think you'd be forthcoming with it and not looking to take advantage of the system, because that's the angle I've gotten for 17 years. Well, you're just trying to use this as an excuse to, no, this is my due process right. Congress gave it in 1990. That's because people like you always wanted to put down people like me that you're perceiving I'm not as good as you.
You weren't pointing at me, were you, Henry?
It's kind of crazy. I mean, honestly, guys. But Tiff, before we go into the video, if you go to your email, I did send you some documents, and those are great documents, Tiff. If we can get Darren to post them, that would be great documents for people to start reading. But that's all they got to do is go to ada.gov or Olmstead, Google Olmstead Act, and you'll start reading your rights. You are no different. When somebody perceives you, the government has to do everything to keep people out of institutional settings. They must offer a public setting first. And I'm sorry, if you apply that to the family life, or you apply that to court, divorce court, or CPS, or in my case, the Department of Developmental Disabilities. And what's even worse is you got to dig in and find secret settlement agreements. So FOIA, your local state federal office of Civil Rights, or you can call the national DOJ and put in a FOIA request and ask for all your Title II, Title III settlement agreements. You'll be surprised how many secret settlement agreements you got. But then again, I just go to ada.gov, type in Connecticut in the search box. It'll pull up everything.
You're going to have to resend those emails, because either I didn't get them, or
I got them. I'll pull them up after the video. I got them. Henry, I got you. I got you. All right, let's check this video out. Here we go. Are we ready? Here we go. It has a nice little song and everything on it.
Let's talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act. To understand the ADA, let's first start with a little history. There are examples of activist groups campaigning for disability rights dating back to the 1800s. During the Great Depression, the League of the Physically Handicapped fought for employment for people with disabilities. In 1950, the NARC, or National Association for Retarded Children, was founded, which isn't a great name by today's standards, but is an example of how things can change and improve over time. In 1973, the Rehabilitation Act was the first time the exclusion and segregation of people with disabilities was seen as discrimination. It was also the first time people with disabilities were viewed as a minority group. Section 504 of the Act banned discrimination against people with disabilities in programs that get federal financial assistance. Before this, people had the mindset that the problems people with disabilities face, like unemployment or lack of education, were inevitable circumstances imposed by the disability itself. The Act started to change that mindset and help people realize that it's often a result of societal barriers and prejudices. The first step to changing this was to define what non-discrimination means in the context of disability. In 1975, the Education of All Handicapped Children Act guaranteed children with disabilities the right to public school education. The first version of the ADA was introduced in April 1988. A national campaign was started to write discrimination diaries to document daily instances of inaccessibility and discrimination. This was used to help raise awareness about the barriers to daily living for people with disabilities. Just a couple examples of the discrimination that were found were restaurants refusing to service people with service dogs, wheelchair users having to abandon their wheelchairs if they wanted to ride a bus or a train. Businesses could legally pay employees with disabilities less than non-disabled employees doing the same work, and businesses could refuse to hire people just because they had a disability. The Americans with Disabilities Act was put into effect by Congress on July 26, 1990. It bans discrimination based on disability and requires public accommodations to be accessible. The Act defines disability as a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Disabilities that are covered are any condition that substantially limit a major life activity, such as walking, talking, hearing, seeing, or learning. People with a history of disability, an example of this would be cancer that is in remission, or any impairment that is not temporary or expected to last longer than 6 months. The ADA is divided into 5 different sections called titles. Title I is about employment. Title II is about public entities and public transportation. Title III is about public accommodations and commercial facilities. Title IV is about telecommunications, and Title V is provisions. So let's take a look at Title I, employment. This says that people with disabilities should have the same employment opportunities and benefits as everyone else. It's enforced by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC. It says that there can't be any discrimination in any aspect of employment, including hiring, firing, pay, job assignment, promotions, layoffs, or training. The EEOC says that discrimination is when an employer treats a qualified individual unfavorably because they have a disability. And it requires that employers provide reasonable accommodations, which are basically modifications to a job or work environment that will enable an employee with a disability to do their job well. Unless providing these accommodations will cause undue hardship or any kind of difficulty because of the employer's size, finances, or the needs of their business. And all of this applies to businesses that have 15 or more employees. Title II is in regards to public entities and public transportation. This section would be space and accommodations for wheelchairs on public transportation, and that people with disabilities need to be able to access all state and local public housing. This title is enforced by the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity. It also prohibits discrimination in any kind of housing-related transactions like sale, rental, and financing. A really important part of Title II is the Architectural Barriers Act of 1968. And this says that buildings that are designed, constructed, or altered in any way after September of 1969 need to be accessible for people with disabilities. Any buildings that are before that law usually aren't impacted, but a new business going into an older building can sometimes trigger changes. The Architectural Barriers Act is enforced by the Architectural and Transportation Barriers Compliance Board by investigating complaints, so a change isn't going to be made unless a complaint is made. Title III is arguably one of the most important parts of the ADA, and it says that people with disabilities will not be discriminated against in the ability to have full and equal enjoyment of the goods, services, facilities, and accommodations of any public space. This applies to things like hotels, recreation, transportation, education, dining, stores, care providers, and public spaces. Exceptions include private clubs, unions, and religious organizations that are not bound to Title III. Discrimination here would be the failure to remove architectural barriers like steps in existing facilities, especially when those barriers are relatively easy to remove without much difficulty or expense. And they do what's called a balance test, where they look at the difference between the cost of the proposed fix and the financial means of the business. So in other words, a change that might be really easy for a big corporation might be too expensive for a small local business. As far as historic buildings are concerned, they have to do as many fixes as are possible without destroying the historic significance of the building. But any new construction that was done after the ADA took effect has to be fully compliant. Title IV is about telecommunications, which covers telephone, internet, and radio, and it requires that all telecommunication companies in the U.S. take steps to ensure functionally equivalent services for consumers with disabilities, specifically people who are deaf, hard of hearing, or have speech impairments. So an example of this could be having Braille on keyboards or having options to have someone interpret for you over the phone. Title V is entitled Provisions, which basically ensures that people who exercise their rights under the ADA or assist others in exercising their rights are protected from retaliation from anybody else. So that is the Americans with Disabilities Act in a nutshell. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you learned something, and hopefully you'll pass this information on to other people. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
All right. So there we go. And I'm trying to get us back out here. There we are. All right, Henry, what'd you think?
What was the date?
You are the
what was
expert.
the date of that video being made? Because I'm going to tell you guys another little secret. They're going to make up documentation out of Word saying, oh, this is the designated responsible employee. This is the community ombudsman. Show me the publication date. Show me the date that it was decided by the ADA Advisory Committee that it complies with the laws and regulations of 2025. What we're fighting is
May
that
29th.
we're still fighting the fact, because that video looks to me like 2006. Never seen it, but it's a very
March
good
29th,
explanation.
2020. March 29th, 2020.
2020. Okay. So again, some things have been updated, especially on the communication. Website accessibility is a big time push from the last technical guidance.
We were just talking about that
Department
earlier.
of Justice. So it's again, but it gave us the good foundation to talk. You heard one, there is no retaliation. They cannot retaliate against you for raising this administrative duty to say, hey, why ain't I getting a brain surgeon when you guys are only offering a foot doctor to me? How is that possible? Then at the same time, you come up with a disease that's not in the medical known community, or if it's a what's the word when they're all fighting about? It's a
Chaos.
It's not proven through testing clinical trials. It'll come to me in a minute, but anyways, it's sort of like the black letter of law. When we use the black letter of law, that means it's been tested and true, and it's absolute. We have a due process right.
There's nothing
Right,
in law
but
like
again,
that.
when you hear an attorney use a big fancy word, black letter of the law, you know, it's a known fact of law. And again, we're this. But what I did like underneath that video of unemployment is they said protections, I believe, was in there. They referred to accommodation. They really didn't dive into Title II, but they showed you how the accessibility must be that way for a wheelchair to get into a state building. Well, again, depending on what disability I have, what's your program going to do for me? Give me the list of modifications that you guys do. In my case, if I was a sitting judge and Tiffany came to me, Your Honor, I got a big, child I'm taking care of now. I'm older in my life. Things are a little harder for me. You know, I don't want to leave him in the law library because the law library is supposed to be technically a quiet space, and he ain't going to be quiet. So how am I going to do my research if I can't get to your Westlaw and lowest law? These are all things that I'm fighting currently today. And again, it's not effectively open for everyone. The law libraries in Connecticut have been only effectively open now for certain people who can show up on certain days at certain times in certain locations. How's that possible? And again, because of budget crisis. But don't get me wrong, state actors, state players all get their raises.
Henry, the bulk of the questions that we're getting, people are writing up here right now, is the ADA says they can't help them. Everybody up here is saying
you're absolutely wrong, because if you don't raise this question, and again, you said upon, in that video, it said upon a complaint, if you do not keep up, and this is another burden they put on us, that if you do not keep up the complaints, you can never bring this to a federal court, because you got to understand, ADA has removed the immunity of everyone, especially when you're talking about a judge in their administrative duties, because this technically should not be on record. When you're in a courtroom, they should not be openly talking about what accommodations you are going to get and not going to get. At that point, in my opinion, it's already too late. If it's not done, unless it's a non-emergency situation, guys, strictly talking about that. But in other words, they plan to come out to your house to meet with you. Sorry, who's the professional here for the disability? A social worker? How are you sober to my needs and understanding of what's going on in my home? Have you taken any
training for this? Is this part of your training? Right? Are you certified in this? Do you know how to recognize these signs?
Even your police department's supposed to have 32 hours mandated of training. Your teachers have to go through
What is that training? What is that mandated training called? Do you know?
What is it called?
Yeah, the 32-hour mandated training. So
each one would be underneath their effective training. So you'd have to Google whatever you're talking about. And again, it might be easy enough to use guidance from the DOJ. Go to their website and see if you can pull it down. But it does exist, because I've sit in state hearings saying, wait a minute, this is wrong. They acknowledged the ADA, but when it came down to the training, it's a mandated training. And I think it was back in 2002 I found the case law. And again, our legislators in Connecticut did was left the option as a voluntary training. This is how much discrimination is going on, guys. It's open, because why? You will never find a designated responsible employee, 28 CFR 35.107. But what we did is we used a case called in Rikers Island, which is a state prison. Because I'm going to tell you right now, prisoners got nothing else better to do than to challenge your rights. And again, lock me down 7 days a week. You want to see one hell of a war wagon happen.
Is the Disability Rights Center the same as the ADA?
Disability Rights Center is somebody that would probably be another name in your state. But what you should be looking for is the PNAs, Protection and Advocacies, which turned to the National Disability Rights. And even then, they've hung up the phone on me when I was ratting out my local protection and advocacy. Because again, what you're going to find out is if you get your secret settlement agreements in place, that somewhere along the line, ours was roughly 12 years ago, the feds came along and said, our protection and advocacy group is in bed with the state of Connecticut. They have to be called now Disability Rights of Connecticut. So what do? Same actors, same players, reshuffled it around, put a new sticker on the bumper. See ya. We got the same problems 15 years later, guys. I totally agree with you. But the problem is I've read too much case law that says that it ain't I was going to say that it ain't possible. Oh, I just got a brain fart.
Let me read this while you think about it, because Debbie's right. She sent me what they sent her, and this is what they said. Thank you for contacting the Disability Rights Center of Kansas regarding the request for assistance in your TFI custody case for a grandson.
Wait, let me guess. They're gonna go by that they cannot turn around because it's not part of their scope of advocacy for that year, because that's
Well,
what they
they
used against
said,
me.
to sum it up, they said, we do not represent parents in TFI cases as the state will assign attorneys to provide representation for you at no cost.
Oh, that's
Good.
nice.
Now, where's the attorney's training? That's what I've argued too. Where's the attorney's training? Because if the bar trains people on how to sue people, the bar trains people on every aspect. How have these people kept current with the civil rights and the development of it? That's another thing. So again, when you sit there and say what I would do if I was her, I would now write or request a letter to the Disability Rights of Kansas. You said correct?
That's what it says, yeah.
Okay, Disability Rights of Kansas. I would like to get on the next time you guys have a board meeting. I would like to speak to the board.
Do you hear that, Debbie?
I'm sorry, if you go to Judge Bazelon Center now and you see their technical guidance from, I think it was again 2004, termination of parental rights with people with disabilities. My
Judge
feeling
Bazelon Center is what, Henry? Judge Bazelon Center is what?
Judge Bazelon Center is another ADA advocacy that nationally briefs and teams up with the local disability rights across the country. And me and Darren had a little talk about this today, guys. You got to understand, they can't play this game. If one state is interpreted, I don't care if it's in the Ninth Circuit, it applies to your state, because they cannot equal your equal and protection rights to equal and the same as another citizen in another state, because you got to understand the Indian welfare really kicks into this too, because I've read it in the ADA where I believe whatever you can jump to whatever act that gives the greater protection to the disabled's needs. And again, this is coming back to where we can jump around to certain ways and get certain things, in my opinion. And I've pushed the envelope. How far have I gotten? I've pissed a lot of people off. But you know what? This is what you got to do. Don't fuck with me. And again, you're leaving off the ADA, you're allowing them to fuck with you, because that's your biggest discrimination going on right now, because it's all done openly. I don't care if you're black, purple, green, gay, it don't matter to me. Again, there is certain protections. And again, in that video, did not bring up too that drug and alcohol is protected underneath the ADA. So again, I mean, so what gamut, what part of the gamut are they not supposed to custom give you services for your needs and your disabilities? Especially if you got somebody perceiving you, done. I don't care. I'd rather take somebody perceiving me all day long. And again,
well, here's the thing. Her daughter does have disabilities.
Forget it then. You got them by the cajoons. They have to be an expert. Like in my son's case, I was challenged underneath chelation. That's detoxification of heavy metals. He got double MMR shot with the flu shot 2 months apart. They're supposed to be 2.5 years apart.
Oh my!
And again, this is what the state did: is threatened the grandparents. You got to go down and bring them to get them vaccinated. You know, the mother's no good. She did everything. I wasn't around for the first couple of years of his life. It wasn't until, she lost custody of him. And again, it's for the better. You know what I mean? Because again, I'm not putting people down. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, man or woman. There's pieces of shit in every freaking classification. And I'm sorry. And this is where, my feeling is, if you're going to say to me, well, I ain't going to bother with the ADA. I'm not going to. And again, I was informed you can only have certain time frame to request ADA accommodations. First, if you're dealing with the state, it's called a modification, and they have an affirmative responsibility once identified to give you. So again, if you haven't been given, it's called fraud of services.
Right.
So what should Debbie do? They just clearly told her that they don't do TFI investigations.
File a DOJ complaint, and I'm just curious to know, what is the disability?
But if this was really the ADA, you can't ask that question, right? That can't be. They can never ever ask you what that question.
No, they have a right to inquire what your disability is, and that's why I'm saying to you, because how do I custom tailor what your needs are if I don't know? If I'm giving you a foot doctor and you need a brain surgeon, how does that even apply? It's just total
foot and mouth.
Total opposite. But my feeling would be, like in my Nathan's case, who's autistic, who's part of developmental needs, and who's doing CAM therapies, complementary and alternative medicines. And how is my MD doctor in the state of Connecticut bad for him? So again, you have to customize it for whatever it is. And what kills me in this case, because I happen to know him, it's called Joseph W. Joe Watley is a great guy, and they basically, his girl lost her first set of kids, or first kid. He got her pregnant while they were dating. They took off to PA, and she gave birth in PA. She said something stupid in the hospital. It's well medical knowledge that women get depression after having children. But yet the state came along and Joe says, well, she's a bad person, then I'm taking my son home with me. And they said, no, you don't recognize her disabilities. So that means you're a bad person. That's discrimination. That's forced discrimination to sit there and say, because she said something, and again, it could be a temporary lapse. It could be an emotional hormone imbalance. Where are these experts that are very familiar? And that's what sucks about it, is when you dive into the ADA, you're going to be doing a lot of refuting. You're going to absolutely, you have to. It's part of the ongoing complaint that you have to continue to generate. You have to continue to make in writing, because that's the only way it works. Me personally, I secretly record. I don't care. I got my little white recorder everywhere I go. I don't care.
So I got a text. I believe that her daughter is autistic. She's on here. If she is watching, she might be able to elaborate more.
Jesus almighty.
And again, it doesn't need any real elaborations. Again, why would you give no services for an autistic person, correct, that has certain needs, sensory issues, or whatever? And again, your house is very calm tonight. If your kid was jumping off the walls, right, I would say, wait a minute, is that kid got a trait of autism, or is he just on high fructose syrup? So again, a social worker could come walking into your house and see your kids bonking off the walls and call you a bad parent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wrong. So again, what gives them the effective training to identify? How did they get to go to school for 2 years instead of 8 years? I just don't get it.
Right.
So
it's crazy.
Again, if the child is nonverbal, picture that one. If your child's nonverbal, are they using effective communication with that child? Like the schools would? And don't let them say that picture communication systems, oh, that's just way too high tech. No. You hear stories of them writing out social stories for the kids in sex problems. You know what I mean? In sex cases, the artist sits down and draws with them and see if they'll draw something goofy. You know what I mean? Or in Connecticut, I've heard of dogs going into the courtroom to keep the kids regulated as they're testifying. One, in my opinion, no kid under 12 should be testifying on a stand. That's my personal belief. Over 12, different story. Because there was a time in this country when you were 13, you were running a farm and having a family.
Yeah, there's a time in this country when you were 13, you were getting married.
Yeah, that's what I'm basically saying. But 12 and under, let them be kids. After 12, I see no reasons why lie detectors should not be used in courts. If Jerry freaking Springer can do it, why can't we?
Oh, God bless his soul.
Again, this is no knowledge. Why do we get the conflict? Because hearsay creates money. And the only way you're going to defeat the hearsay is in an administrative duty. You're not going to do it in the courtroom, because if they want you, there's nothing that's going to stop the train from coming down on you, because you got the right to appeal. Right? How many times have we all heard that? You have the right, and that's what they purposely do. You want to challenge us, we're gonna torture you underneath paperwork, miles and miles of paperwork. But I think places like this today wasn't here for me 17 years ago when I went through the hell. I couldn't believe it when DCF came and knocked on my door, said, hey, we hear you're doing this diet with Nathan, and we're doing chelation. We support it. We've actually seen positive facts. So there is some positives and negatives that you hear about the horror stories. And I got all kinds of crap I can give you. The schools tried using DCF against me during COVID to get me to withdraw them so they don't have to get recognized as this federal lawsuit's going to proceed against them. Because, again, it's so well documented. And, again, you can't do nothing. The feds really don't care till age 21. I'll even throw that out there. How about that one?
Feds don't care till
I
age
personally
21.
don't think so. And I'm trying to figure out myself, well, if the DOJ has the right to pull the state in, a citizen has the right to pull the state in, but we don't know how to do the paperwork. And in my opinion, if the protection is truly there, that's all it takes is a crayon X, and that should start the whole process. And again, in Rikers Island, I pull that out of in Rikers Island through other means and everything. But in Rikers Island, if these prisoners got these rights, how do you not have the right when you show up at family relations or DCF or I don't care what it is, your town hall? If you're having an issue with the school system, if you're having, and they won't give you, because technically the school now, that's even beautifuler. They should have a 504 officer because the ADA pulls for protection out of the 73 Rehabilitation Act. And the 504 pulls out of the 73. There's two different violations here that's going on because they do get 50 court systems in DCF do get mental health 504 money, but they also get underneath your civil Gideon right, life, liberty, and happiness, that certain things that you should have a right to a free of attorney. They're not going to be educated. But again, where my feeling is, you send them the emails. And what I'm finding so beautiful right now is this chat GPT, which I'm an ignorant, that should be my disability stamped right on my forehead. This is, YouTube, I never knew that previous to hunting you guys out within the last 6 months. What happened was basically I was entertained with my child. I was building a greenhouse with kids with disabilities, and my own family just started the discrimination. So we're basically dealing with it on the death of my mother on top of it all. And now that Nathan is aging out, I'm also getting hit with that age 21 deadline. So again, that's my feeling that you guys should really pay attention to that. But I was listening
What
to
happens
the other
What
day
happens?
saying that any frauds against your constitutional right, any frauds can be brought up at any time to the federal level, whether it's closed, open. I tried doing a federal removal underneath the ADA. I used Rachel versus, oh geez, it was about a sergeant in a private being told by the sergeant, to do this. He knew it was wrong, so he went above his head and went to the general. So that's basically what I used for case law. You can find it in the federal courts. It's relatively easy. I have the briefs in my computer, but again, what they did is they sent us back to the state because they're not prepared to handle this either. You guys got to understand. And I thought Tennessee, because I quote Tennessee Lane all the time. How can you tell me Tennessee, this shit's running so rampantly crazy down there? It just, or even Virginia. I would think even your state, Tiffany, that people would have common sense by now. With all these advocacy rules that are being done up at the legislative, everybody's one, everybody's a big family. It don't matter whether you're purple, green, yellow, gay, queer.
Virginia's for lovers.
It just doesn't matter.
Darren, you were in a meeting.
Oh,
right?
My. Oh my, in the words of Tiffany.
That's right. Oh my. It is not like that, is it, Darren?
Virginia sucks.
Thank you.
Families.
But the great thing is, you got that one powerful statement I said earlier. How can you lessen a right that another state has granted? There's only one Congress. See, what we do is we're fighting between each state. Well, my state says you can't be terminated until 18 months. I've heard of states saying 3 months and not seeing your kid, or 6 months and you're gone. Again,
well, here's the thing. Look at all of this in context. We had a civil war, okay? We fought a civil war. We decided in that civil war that, okay, the states don't get to govern themselves. We fall underneath a federal government. Now, that's pretty much what the North was saying, right? Like they were saying, no, we're not doing this state by state crap. We're going to have one big federal government. That's what they supposedly fought over, right? But how is it now that 200 something years later, here we are, where we don't even realize what the supreme law of the land is, which is not, our Constitution, and it's not even the Constitution. It's what did I just read that makes it the
that we're getting nailed by paperwork and not by
Right, but now we're balancing which power works in our favor more. Is it the federal for this, or is it the states' rights? And that can't be. The checks and balances need to be one way or the other, right?
It
Like you
doesn't
can't.
matter. It doesn't matter what any state says. It does not matter because it works like this: local law, state law, federal law, the Constitution. Unless they have a constitutional convention and change that shit, I don't care what they say. The Constitution maps out how this country is supposed to be ran. Period. End of story.
Agreeable at that point, but then the state does have a right to put in a layer of added protection on top of what the minimum federal government is. So if they're not even doing their minimum civil rights, you know what I mean? How do they jump to the extreme and say, oh no, we got to do this? Like I heard something today about speeding cameras now. Oh, well, the government's saying speeding kills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a town in my town.
There we go. Next thing you know, they're going to be locking you up for speeding instead of just getting a ticket.
And people are putting flowers up there to block the speeding camera, correct? And what they got is a little card saying that these flowers are for beautifying the neighborhood. Well, thank you from the neighborhood beauty committee. So again, this is all committee shit, and I agree with you. I don't see how you got the right to presume I'm gonna speed.
Well, here's the thing: the states have the authority to make their own statutes, codes, and whatever, but they
don't
do
have the
not
authority to make
have
the law.
Nobody can make the law. The law
Right.
is the Constitution. That's why I tell people there's only one law in every state, okay, for the state, and it's the state constitution. And there's only one law, technically one law, for the entire nation, because the constitutions of the states cannot contradict the Constitution of the United States because it's superior law of the land. I don't care what anybody says. That's why I challenge every fucking thing. Don't bring me no bullshit because I'll find it.
Now, in my opinion, the ADA makes everything modifiable if you're disabled or perceived. I got to hammer on you guys. Once you guys are perceived, nobody's getting that. And it's a modification, not accommodation. Modifications lead to accommodations in Title II. Title I, which is employment only, cannot jump to Title II and ask for relief. It cannot do it. But Title II can jump to Title I, can jump to Title III, can jump to Title VII, can jump to anything that adds a greater protection. Are you guys kidding me? This is, again, why I don't get why. I know you're going to get slapped in the face, but come back with the technical guidance. Where's your administrative duties? Where's your prophylactic protections? Who's on your ADA advisory committees? How have you used the disabled community underneath my particular disabled to come up with your policies and procedures? Oh, you don't have policies and procedures? Why not? I should be given technical procedural safeguard underneath my disability right. Well, it's on the website. And then when you look at it, the email goes to affirmative action group. Well, wait a minute. That's Title I. I don't go see a Title I person. This is where you guys got to understand the no's are just slapping you just to tell you there's and again, anyone that would tell you no is because upon that no, it is discrimination.
I hope you're getting this, Debbie.
I can't advocate again. I know I'm talking, this is 17 years, but I'm making it simple. I've given Darren I give Darren email and Tiff email today. And again, I would like to add up some technical guidance by this weekend. We tried getting somebody national on. I just think it's too much. And there's just too much stuff going on. And again, I'm free. You can't get any freer. Just like I was taught, free. You got to, one, listen to the preacher. And then two, go listen to what I'm saying and go check fact it. Because if I'm wrong, this is where you can improve the arguments and make it quicker. When I say improve, 17 years ago, I'm still fighting the fact of 99 that people still wanted to institutionalize. And again, it's sad. It's sad to say that, but any parent right now that's being, accused of having XYZ disability, which we all know they come up with in non-Pacific disability. Well, how can you have a non-Pacific disability and not get treatment? Do you not get what I'm? So they're basically spitting in your face and telling you, we ain't even going to tell you what your disability is, but you lose your kids. How can you do that? And again, anyone they go send you to, I would object, and I would go to my own private treating doctor first, because by the law, the treating doctor is the one that has the affirmative obligation to tell, that there's something wrong. Like, meaning if you go to the doctor and your kid's got bruises from head to toe, report it.
Right.
And when they don't, you know what I mean? Or if they suspect sexual molestation, whatever it is. And yes, because all the schools now have these social workers, 2-year degree people, which again, guys, if you got to, if nobody told you, Google it. I believe National is still working on trying to get it. But in my state, you don't count as nothing as a social worker until you get your bachelor's degree or master's. I'm sorry, master's. So you literally got to go to 6 years to college to get your master's. And you are nothing considered in this state but a 2-year degree.
Yeah, well, that's what they need to do in all 50 states. Because
again, I say Google it. So if you don't, and you're not asking that of your social worker, hey, what's your credentials? You got a 2-year degree, 4-year degree? Did you
I already know.
Did you ever receive your master's? Then you pull out your technical guidance that you downloaded from, because again, the way I beat a lot of the social workers is pulling down the information off the internet, spending up the time. Google Scholar is incredible. And again, termination of parental rights with disabilities. Find out what comes up. Read. You gotta read. You gotta read, and you gotta attach this stuff as proof that you're not crazy. Because obviously, the more published that's the word I was looking for here earlier, peer-reviewed articles. So meaning, Tiffany does a study, I take it, I run it the exact same way, come out with the same conclusion. Darren runs it, comes out with the same. Done. It's peer review. There is no hire. Right. You guys got to use peer review case law. And again, you're not going to be able to hire a $10,000 psychologist to go fight them. So why wouldn't you fight them on the administrative services? I don't get it. This is what I'm saying to you, Tiff. These people say, oh, no, I've tried. Really? Have you? You know what I mean? Because again, if this is all news to you, then you haven't tried. And what we're saying is keep your mind open. And I'm not promising it's going to get your kids back, because we can't promise that. We got a corrupt system. For some reason, they targeted you, and they targeted you hard. And I don't care who it is, for what reasons. I've seen it from whistleblowers all the way down the line, been targeted.
You're going to find that, like, you've done your work, I've done my work, Darren's done his work, Spanny's done her work, all these advocates have done their work. Then you're going to get parents who want the knowledge, but they don't want to work for it. Well, yep. I will not be your babysitter.
I'll be open to have a talk any day of the week with anyone. Open talk. But the facts are, when you're standing in front of that person, unless you designate me as a paid advocate, correct? I have nothing to say. And even in that sort of situation, we're seeing paid advocates in courts being shut down. I don't want no emotional freaking support person. What the hell do I need emotional support person for? I need somebody to be able to speak and reinforce the law. In fact, this is case law, Your Honor. I don't care if it's in the Ninth Circuit. You can't reduce what the interpretation of what your funding is and what it does for other people in other states. And you're going to tell me our state doesn't acknowledge that this would benefit me?
That's for sure.
That's what I'm trying to say, Tiff. You got to get ugly. You got to get mean. And I'm sorry. Just look at it as
take off the dress, Tiff.
But again, I got so much work and so much advocacy done that
a lot of work to do on her.
And we start posting everything, then people can learn in a faster way. Or
exactly.
We can have talks. Just don't tell me, oh, I've tried. They won't really.
Hey, talk's cheap, man. Let's act over here. This is the action channel, not a talking channel.
Exactly, my friend. It has to be about 100% about the fact. Again, something
We don't
I
talk
might have
about it.
done,
We be about it.
you might have done. I don't want to hear the guy showed up and told me I was no good. Bullshit, man. We all been told we're no good. That's their game book plan. To get you off your rocker so that once you get off your rocker, you fuck up.
Right. And that's what it's all about.
No, and again, they catch you in one fuck up,
That's
you're all
hokey
done.
pokey.
But here we are talking about saying, well, why wouldn't you catch them in their administrative easiest way to fuck up? Because we all know that if policies and procedures are not in place like they would have for XYZ, you can't tell me it doesn't apply here. And again, if the schools are giving you procedural safeguards, if you know, anti-bullying, your kids got to go to anti-bullying, are you taking anti-bullying classes? Because I feel like I'm being bullied right now for sticking up for my child's rights.
Stop it.
Oh, so 2 children here in Virginia, right? And they better be glad they didn't know me, and they better be glad it wasn't my kids. 2 children, 2 7-year-olds were bullied in this school, 2 separate incidents. And instead of kicking out the bully, they kicked out the kids that were bullied. I said, oh, hell no.
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 And again, that's where the
Where's that
prophylactic
bikers for bullied
has to be in
kids? Where's
place.
that group? Call them up. Get them over there.
That's where the prophylactic protection has to come in place, because there should have been an investigation. And in that investigation, like any other police report or any other, there has to be a case number, fact of complaint, conclusion of complaint, finding of changing if the system is identified as bullying. So in other words, let's just say the West Wing, there's no security cameras. This kid was bullied in the West Wing. Conclusion, how do you stop it? Put in more security cameras in the West Wing.
They kicked the 2 children out that were bullied the same day they were bullied. And the teachers cleared the classrooms and left both children alone in the room while they cleared the classroom. I tell you what, I would have tore Fairfax County up. Do you hear me? They would have been like, here comes the Tasmanian devil. Here she comes.
And again, you know, I'm sorry, maybe even a remote learning for those kids should be appropriate.
No, that bully needs to be kicked out.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you, that until their behaviors can be under control,
He'll be doing the remote learning.
Remote learning should be used for their application. They shouldn't have the privileges of, because this is what the disabled fight for, is the inclusion, like in gym classes, cafeteria, recess, whatever peer activity. Maybe they shouldn't have the peer activities and just strictly the education. Again, that's something I would probably approach and be willing to stand up for.
Well, I don't know these women, because if I knew these women, we would all be in jail right now, because we would.
No, but I'm just saying, you will use this scenario now where again, somebody could be on this saying, hey, my kid was bullied, so why ain't you asking for this? If you don't open your mouth, the feds have already made it clear, you cannot appeal something you do not open your mouth about.
That's right, because latches is attached. When
it's an administrative duty, whether you're represented by a lawyer or not, this is the beauty of the whole thing. Your voice still matters. They can't silence you underneath advocacy of your protection. Yes, they're going to silence you in that room, but as soon as you leave that room, you write, this is my fact of today's hearing. If you refute it, fine, let's refute it. But other than that, you know, this is what happened. You told me to shut up. You wouldn't listen to me saying I have a disability, Your Honor. I need certain protections for my child or me or whatever, you know. And again, it could be somebody you're witnessing walking into the courtroom that's having a nervous breakdown. You should be able to go to that designated responsible employee and say, hey, listen, there's a guy or a girl pacing in the hall. I don't care which one you use. And I'm not sure, man. They look pretty goddamn nuttied out, man. You guys really sure you checked them for a gun or a knife? Not saying anything good, bad, or indifferent, but again, just their actions or could they have a disability that they need effective communication? And again, the court is supposed to, once it's identified, because of Great Lakes training, how can I get that to you right now? I think we covered that one. But go to the Great Lakes ADA Training Center, which again, there's 10 training centers across the United States. And tell me, if there's training videos for the state employees, then how are they allowed to rule on you without going through that effective training? How are they supposed to engage you without going through that effective training? So we were talking about videos because I forgot to bring that up. But if you could pull up Great Lakes ADA Center, that would be great, Darren, and post it up there.
Easy, Tiff.
What?
I said easy, Tiff.
Oh, Jesus, don't start on me. I am so sorry, Darren. I didn't mean
No,
to
I'm
do
just
that.
messing with you, Dan. I have to bust your cajones a little bit, you know? What is it?
Hey, I
Great
got
Lakes
white
ADA?
hair. I got white hair. I don't have blonde hair. Does that matter?
Great. Yeah, you don't wear a hat. This is Queen on it. Yeah. Great Lakes ADA. What is it? Great Lakes ADA Center, right?
Center, yep.
Now, what is there different amount of centers for areas or something? Groups?
Yes, your zip code. So yeah, that would be another one I would reaching out to. We got into disability rights of whatever your state is. They're like autism. You should be able to get into ARC of your state, which is ARCK, whatever. There's a national too. That again, they're going to tell you the same thing that we don't advocate. And then that's when you start saying, listen, let me speak to who's in charge. I want to appeal this to the board and ask why.
Mm-hmm.
You can't show me where you can not pick and choose what advocacy you want underneath the ADA. You have to enforce it all. If my child and me are being discriminated against in family court by state actors and state players' ignorance, you have affirmative responsibility to correct the Title II program, Title III program. Do you or do you not? That would be my thing. But after that, you have a budsman, which they're useless, but it's just nice to put them in there and CC them.
So you said that your son is about to turn 21 and age out. What is he aging out of?
Services, program services and activities. The greatest time of their progress services and activities is up to age 21. And because of COVID, it actually kicks it now to age 22. So you're seeing a lot of towns telling kids once they hit age 21 this year, and I know a couple of parents, that the town's saying, okay, our education's all done. So you accept that they're alive without even looking.
Wow.
The government has given them one more year because 3/4 of their year was destroyed because of COVID. It started basically in December. Let's not forget that. We only really had 2 months in before COVID really hit. And, but that's my personal belief, where again, you have to look at the technical guidance underneath different acts, even the IEDA laws. They apply because if it's happening there, it's got to happen here. One Title II entity cannot say, well, we're going to do this for you. And then the next one says, nah, we're not carved out for that. We're only here to get kids and protect the kids and protect the kids' best interest. Well, isn't it the best interest of the child to live with its parents? I mean, that's family first, isn't it? I mean, that's these organizations keep the promise. Again, where's the promises? Again, we didn't mind in the 70s when they were designing all these social programs, and things kind of got flipped around. Instead of it protecting us, they kind of adhered us. And I don't mind, again, if somebody is investigating a child abuse. Even how many people do we know as adults are getting beat up on by one spouse or whatever? You run into it every day, but that's where the phones are. We don't need them busting down the doors and coming in and accusing shit that ain't truly happening, because I believe there's enough eyes. And my greatest thing is, why do you segregate kids like Nathan with developmental disabilities in specialty schools? Why are you taking them out of the eye of typical kids? Because what my feeling is, the typical kids will go home and say, hey, mommy, daddy, I seen this. Or, my friend Jimmy said his father touched him or whatever, or mother touched him.
Jesus, that escalated quickly.
Again, kids talk to their parents. The kids talk. If you talk to your kid, they will talk. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know why society's so amped up on this best interest. And again, it's sort of like these speeding cameras. Oh, it's your best interest because we know you're going to speed. We know you're going to go drive too fast on this road. So we're going to give you a ticket.
But you know what's funny? Other countries don't have speed limits, and their roads are safer than ours.
Well, and they don't have cops either.
Yeah. And two, what they're more socially accepted, because I don't care what you guys say. I feel me drinking at a young age compared to what I see now that's going on. Kids drinking when they hit 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and in trouble by the time they're 28 in the court systems. Wow. Where I don't know about you guys, you know, again, I'm 57, so I grew up in a time where I remember when I was 13 years old at a wedding walking up, yeah, my dad needs some Tom Collins, you know, and again, we were flash puking all over the parking lot. And again, back in the days when you could buy cigarettes, you just walk into the convenience store and you bought cigarettes.
I'm right there with you. Darren probably doesn't remember that, but I'm only 2 years younger than you, so I remember buying my mom cigarettes.
Again, I bought my mom. I had a little note that I carried up to the store with me, and I'd get a little money in my pocket, and I'd give them to him, and I think it was like 78 cents or something. She smoked Bel Airs.
Oh, geez, wow.
Yeah.
My mom smoked Terrytons.
Yeah. I smoked whatever I got my hands on.
Yeah.
Well, guys. Yeah. So again,
don't forget. Hey,
Saturday night. I'm not fibbing on this. Whoever needs the help, and again, your first thing would be, you know, Tiffany's got some things. I gave some. I think the legislative complaint. That would be the first one, and you got my permission. But you got to understand, there's a place called CHRO in your state, Connecticut Office of Civil Rights and Opportunities, I believe it's called. You guys got to have an Office of Civil Rights and Opportunities too. They handle ADA complaints. Did you ever go there?
Office of Civil Rights and Opportunity.
Right. That's what it's called in our state. And again, you have to have and again, I believe Massachusetts has got an Attorney General Office of Civil Rights. Did you call there and start preaching, hey, I'm being denied the designated responsible employee. I got people discriminating against my disability. They're not giving me the appropriate services programs. They're not even identifying what my disability is. But yet I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
That's where you guys got to put your foot down and say, this just doesn't make sense. If you got an affirmative obligation, I would like to read you one thing, because I do have it here, and
as long as it's not 5 pages, because we're at our spot.
No. Who does the ADA apply to? The public entity. Title II applies to any public entity. US 42, USC 1213(2). Public entity is defined as you. These are all things that you guys just jump into it. There's 1990 technical guidance, states and towns. It's in my brief of the complaint, but you got to realize when you take out Connecticut, you need to fill in Connecticut. The federal law is there. It's in place. You got a good foot to understand where to go. And again, the case law is solid. I refute it. I ran it through AI. Somebody else ran it through AI. They came back and they said, holy shit. It shows about the affirmative obligations of administration duties. And if you're not getting it and you are disabled, it's called fraud upon the court. Openable anytime.
Yep.
That's my statement, kid.
All right. Hey, Saturday night, your show. What time is it? 8 o'clock?
Yeah, let's do it for 8 o'clock. Somebody's got to come in and help me. I ain't no IT guy.
We'll be here. We don't just.
I noticed though, it sucks that I can't post on the side. Somebody's gonna have to teach me, you know, because like Tiffany.
Hey, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but we have super chats now, guys. So if you're posting here on YouTube, you do have the opportunity to do a super chat, and in turn, that may or may not donate a little bit of money or put a little money towards the show. You get to a certain level with the super chats and things like that. That may or may not help us out. Maybe we can buy some more spots so that we can get more.
Could you do us a favor? Could you put the hyperlink down in the chat box? And also, Tiffany, for your registration on this Saturday, could you put the hyperlink? Because I went looking for it. And again, I'm not technology suave.
Yeah, I can put it in the
Darren did it.
Chat room so we all got it and we can pick it up later.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's at cpsbreakingnews.com. cpsbreakingnews.com, guys.
.com will have it all.
cpsbreakingnews.com.
Just in case people.
We're still working on it. It's still a work in progress, but believe you me, You'll really.
If somebody needs those documents I sent you today, go ahead.
I'm going to put that up on. I'm going to put that up on CPS Breaking News. I'm going to put an 88
And
page
again,
up there.
I would like to really send you a bunch of them, but we got to weed out a few things. So if you got time, not tomorrow because I got trial tomorrow on a fake eviction from family members that want to take over my estate. Imagine that, rob their own disabled nephew, and they got millions. They don't need the money. It's the fact of the fight. It goes back to childhood shit. Guys, let's be adults. Get them.
Thank you all for coming. We'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. Henry, thank you so much. We'll see him on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Guys, be good or be good at it. See you tomorrow.
They say, yeah, don't need them. What a mistake that is to say. We live in a land we ought to be free. It's not seeming that's how it is shaping to be. The Constitution is supposed to guide us. Our government is taking it away and trying to deprive us. Our kids are taken every day by CPS agents looking for prey. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. We have found the one and only solution. There's a couple of people you should know. Tiff and the Punisher is their show. They want to stop CPS from stealing our kids, fighting beside us and trying to guide us. Tiff has a heart of gold. She blasts these caseworkers when they are wrong. She beats them down with the knowledge, better than the kids who are in college. The Punishers abolish all the way. He's been here 4 years, they took his daughter away. He came from the darkness he was in. Now it's time to make parenting great again. Together they are making a commotion, telling all the parents use the Constitution potion. You have rights, did you know? Learn to use them on Tiff and Punisher show. We all admit the times are hard. No little children in the front yard. Tiff and Punisher are fighting so hard. They are waging war on the side of God. They don't stop if they get in trouble. They are fighting for the children. Double trouble. The strength they need they get from each other. They have each other's like sister and brother. They are Tiff and the Punisher, saving the families from corruption. They want you to join their movement, no reproaching. You need to learn a thing called the Constitution. Inside that document is isolation. CPS, we have your number. We're coming for you, hear our thunder. Your fate is sealed, have a nice day. You won't break another family, no more trauma for kids, that's like blasphemy. Keep your thoughts to your own ideals. Soon enough you'll be clicking your heels, cause you need to go to jail. All of us fathers will be chugging down a nail. The mothers will squeeze their young ones tight. The CPS workers are locked down for the night. They had a choice they didn't make. Now they spend their days in crates. They should know it's wrong to kidnap. So from all of us, this is your pay. There's a couple of people you should know. Tiff and the Punisher is their show. They want to stop CPS from stealing our kids, fighting beside us and trying to guide us. Tiff has a heart of gold. She blasts these caseworkers when they are wrong. She beats them down with her knowledge, better than the kids who are in college. The Punishers abolish all the way. He's been here 4 years, they took his daughter away. He came from the darkness he was in. Now it's time to make parenting great again. Together they are making a commotion, telling all the parents use the Constitution potion. You have rights, did you know? Learn to use them on Tiff and Punisher show. That's all we need to get on with this fight. The document that most people could barely read and lie. Pick the parts that pertain to your case. Show them the results and spit in their face. We are Tiff and the Punisher fighting together, displaying our unity with birds of a feather. If it's a million, that's great, but one is just the same. We'll bring these kids home and know every name. We will smoke every social worker in court, their heads down with no support. The country knows CPS is doing wrong. If they don't, then play them our song. We are Tiff and the Punisher.
CPS took my neighbor's kids last week. Here's what I wish she knew beforehand. She had no clue what her rights were and completely panicked. That's exactly what you can't do. The difference between keeping your kids and losing them comes down to being prepared. There's this book, Stay Calm, CPS is Coming, that breaks down everything you need to know. Education isn't just power, it's protection. Grab it on Amazon or check cpsbreakingnews.com. Don't wait until it's your door they're knocking on.